Welcome to this video on Raid Shadow Legends. So this is a Doom Tower tutorial for the Scarab King boss fight. And here the secret is to use a regeneration set in combination with Scyl of the Drake's passive. So combining these two effects, you will gain 25% of your max HP every time it's her turn. So the fight takes forever, but it's a reliable way to kill it. So before I show you the fight from the very beginning, let me briefly talk about the stats. So here you can see the equipment of Scyl of the Drakes. Here, two things are very important: survivability and speed. So you want to build her with HP percent, defense percent, speed, and I also built her with accuracy. But for this purpose, it's not really necessary. So the team that I'm using here is not really required. You only need Scyl of the Drakes. The other characters just need to make sure that you get through the first two waves, so that you manage to get to the boss. And to be honest, this is quite easy. So you do not need Sir Nicholas or any of these legendary champions. You just take what you have and get to the boss. So to be honest, to make this cheese work, your team mustn't be too strong, if that makes sense. So the other characters besides Scyl of the Drakes need to die in the Scarab King boss fight, and they need to die quite fast, because otherwise she will take too much damage and then the 25% healing will not be enough to keep her alive. So do not take your best heroes if they are too strong, but you maybe need to try a bit to get the team running. So now we are in the boss fight. And as you probably know already, the problem about the Scarab King is that when you do not have a shield buff, he will counterattack every single attack. So now the thing that we really want to happen here is that all of our characters die very fast, of course except Scyl of the Drakes. So this is because if you have a full team of characters being alive, you will attack 5 times every time Scyl attacks. And so the enemy will counterattack 5 times. So you will get way more damage than compared to when Scyl is the only one being alive. So now all of the characters are dying and Scyl will be the only one left alive. And then it's basically just she attacks, the enemy counterattacks, then the enemy does a regular attack. And then it's back to her turn. And so in this case, the 25% HP regen are enough to keep her alive, and she does a bit of a damage. And if you do this for 1 hour, then you finally kill the Scarab King boss. So as I mentioned in the beginning, this is all about survivability. So it doesn't really matter how much damage you deal. Of course, the more damage you deal, the faster the fight will be. But as you can see, it's quite close here. So maybe the enemy is dealing 20% HP damage each round, and we are healing back 25%. So you also need kind of good equipment of your regeneration set. So you may be wondering, why are you using the regeneration set and not the lifesteal set? And the answer is because of the shield of the Scarab King, you deal almost no damage, and therefore you have almost no life regen. And another comment: in principle, this strategy also works with any other char, but then you only have 15% HP regen, so you need very, very, very good stats to make this work. Now, one final comment here is that the only problem that you could encounter is that the Scarab King steals your buffs. So make sure that the other chars on your team do not deal any great buffs, especially HP regen. For example, in my case, Sir Nicholas, Santa, he does an HP regen buff. So in the team setup, I select that he will not use this skill, because I also had the case that I was fighting for half an hour, then Scyl revived Santa, he did his HP regen, the Scarab King stole the HP regen and healed up to full health. And that was quite annoying. So now let's fast forward to the end of the fight. So you see, the strategy really works. The only difficult thing is to acquire good enough equipment and to get maybe over the first 1 or 2 minutes of the fight, because you really need to make sure that the other characters in your team die fast enough. Otherwise you will not have enough regen, or you will receive too much damage. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, then please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because then maybe I will do another Raid Shadow Legends video. And at the end of the video you can see that Plarium really tricked me here. I was fighting for 1 hour and then I get a server error at the very last second, so the fight did not count, of course. But I did the fight already before, and of course I've completed the whole Doom Tower using exactly this strategy for the Scarab King.